Well, hello everybody, good evening and welcome to a very special MG Metro Cup show this evening. It's all about women in motorsport, and as you can see, I'm joined by two ladies who have more talent in their little fingers than I have in my entire body. It is, of course, Emma Cross and Kyla Birdseye. Ladies, how are we doing? Are we well?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Fantastic. Now, thanks for joining us this evening, ladies. It's quite an important topic, I think, because we want to get more people into motorsport in general, but we want to talk to you, ladies, about your avenues into motorsport, what it was like for you, whether you still come up against any obstacles. Emma, let's start with you because your role is slightly different. Kyla, obviously, you're racing yourself. Emma, you're the coordinator for the MG Metro Cup. So how did you get involved in motorsport?
Well, my dad's been involved in it for 25 plus years into the championship. So I would always go along, used to take my children along, and then they were in need of somebody who would be there at every race, making sure that all the drivers were okay. And the eye spun round on me and asked whether I'd do it. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it for a year or two. It'll be fine. 5 years later, I'm still there. So it's good.
5 years later, still here with it and doing a fine job, I must say, as well. But the family route, it's going to be a familiar one with the Metro Cup. We have spoken about these things before, haven't we? Was it a natural fit for you then, Emma? There was no sort of hesitation. Was it a straight, I'm up for it, I'll do it?
Yeah, because I was a familiar face around the paddock, people knew me anyway. So, they knew who to come to if they need anything. The club that we race with or regularly, they knew who I was. And I've got a really good rapport with them. Not through lack of effort, I have to put the effort in as much as they have to put the effort to make me feel welcome, which they do. So, yeah, it's good.
Have you ever come across any, it's a sensitive subject, isn't it? But have you ever come across any sort of difficulties you felt because you're a woman, let's say? Have you ever felt like somebody's ever treated you slightly different because you're a woman in motorsport as opposed to a male counterpart, for example?
Sometimes if I have to go to the important building of the racetrack in the paddock to go and speak to somebody or need to find out some information, and they in the early days it was and who are you, well, who do you belong to? And then when I say, I'm the coordinator for the MG Metro Cup, okay, yeah, fine. And then that it's just unusual. I don't think there are that many females doing this job, and ultimately it's a volunteer job. But obviously, but it didn't take them long.
Having known you for a while now, Emma, I can imagine that. Once you've met somebody once, they certainly don't forget. We'll touch on your sort of career in a bit more detail in a bit. Kyla, let's come to you. Of course, you're a racer yourself. Let's just show everybody your weapon of choice for 2021. And we've seen this picture before. If you're new to the Metro Cup, look at this, by the way. I voted this the #1 best looking car for the season. I should sit on the fence, really, shouldn't I, with it? With the Club Racing UK podcast. I think it came 3rd overall. First of all, what a fine looking car. What is that like to drive, Kyla?
Oh, it's amazing. Obviously at the beginning it was all a learning curve, getting to know the car, adjusting it to suit how I drive as a person compared to, like, say, my dad or my granddad. But it's absolutely brilliant now. We had a few issues over the years, obviously, but last year it was amazing, and I'm just praying. We haven't done anything to it over the winter because we only done 3 meetings, so I'm hoping it will be just like it was at Alton, because we mixed the last 2 rounds up.
Not the weather though. We don't want the weather. I'm happy with the car.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to experience weather like that again. Kyla, let's touch on your career then. Why motorsport?
Well, like Emma, my granddad's been racing alongside Emma's dad, which is I call Uncle David because we've all grown up together. And I've been going since I was 4 months old to watch my granddad and Uncle David drive alternate years. And then my dad started racing once he met my mum. And then I turned 17 and got my driving license. And then I was like, okay. Yeah. They said, did I want to have a go? Yeah, 7 years later.
So you really had no chance, did you? You were always going to be involved in motorsport. You were always going to be racing.
It was either going to be driving or pit crew because I've always been on the pit wall alongside my cousin Danielle. We've been doing it on the pit wall, timing them for the past God knows how many years, since we were 16, I think it is, on the pit wall. And so it was sort of like, okay, I'll have a go.
I mean, you know, I hate to talk about it because I feel like we're sort of beyond these things nowadays. But do you ever, you know, you're a young lady driving race cars. Do you come up against some idiots on social media who you know, do you ever get any trolls or any stupidity like that?
Not necessarily trolls. I get the occasional, I bet you can't drive. You just have a race car, but you can't actually drive it. But I proved them wrong now. It took me a while, but I'm there.
I think also a good point to make is Kyla isn't a female driver that rocks up and her car is all ready to go. She works blimmin' hard. Her spare time is with the car, you know, fixing it, and she does her own fuel. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of it all, but you know, you see her working on it. So it's not just my car's ready and I hop in and then I drive it around the track and then I come out and leave it, which is nice to see.
Yeah, I've always tried to learn about the cars because without knowing how the car works, you can't fully understand the car and how to get the best out of it. Especially with like the A series, we have like a straight cut gearbox, and you can't just whack it into gear. You've got to push the clutch to make sure it engages. Otherwise, you'll just damage it. And I had an incident at Brands Hatch a few years ago, I think it was now, and I ended up having the inner CV joint explode. And I knew it was the CV joint because I've worked on it and I've helped. I don't know everything about the car. I rely on my granddad, uncle, and dad, but I try and learn.
No, that's brilliant. I often find with these things, isn't it? Like, I don't race myself, but I have nothing but admiration and respect for everybody who does. And you know, when you've been to a race meeting, you're driving home and you're driving along your local A road, and then you get some absolute fool, to use a polite term, coming up, driving right up your backside, and then they speed off at the lights, and you're like, oh my God, if you just went to a racetrack, you'd be taught such a lesson. You know, like, it's such
definitely. The amount of people that are like, oh, come and give me a race. I'm like, no, if you want a race, come on the track. There's a place that needs to be done, and it's definitely not on the road. We rely on like marshals, and they're amazing. So it's not smart doing it on the roads, and the silly boys and girls that might be on the road.
They wouldn't do on a track, Kyla. I think that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
They wouldn't have the guts to do it. Kyla, a question for you is: what advice would you give to any young girls, or just women in general of any age, thinking about getting started in motorsport?
I think quite a lot of women would be nervous about joining a male-orientated sport, which is gradually becoming more and more women's friendly, which I'm really happy about. But don't be put off by the male orientation. I have had such good relationships with these guys over the years, and it's never felt awkward that I'm a girl that's racing. They've always treated me as one of them, and I am grateful for that. but definitely don't feel pressured. Like I can't do it because it's all guys. Because I'm the only girl out there, and I wouldn't change it. I love racing back against them.
I think there's also.
Sorry, Emma, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to say, there's lots of different ways of getting into motorsport. Even if you don't have a car, you can do a job like mine where you can get involved in that way. There's the Orange Barmy Army that you can get involved in. Without them, we wouldn't be able to race. We rely on their volunteer hours upon hours, days upon days in a year to do. To be able to do what we want to do, and without them we couldn't do that. There's jobs in the race control, which is sort of the more the official roles, so to speak, in it all. So there's lots of ways that anybody can get involved, and if women don't feel they can do it on the track, they might be able to bring something to the table in other areas as well.
That's it, exactly. Just off the top of my head, Emma, thinking of roles similar to yours, obviously yours coordinator for the MG Metro Cup. There's Laura Payne who does the Fiestas. There's Mandy Smith who does the MX5s. There's Lindsay Close who looks after multiple series. There's a lot of females involved in motorsport. So I think it's almost a bit of a myth that, yes, it is still male dominated, but not like it used to be.
No, not at all.
No, definitely.
And within each championship you have to have a committee, and within that committee there are lots of different roles, so you can use the skills in your everyday life. If you like numbers, you could be a treasurer, and without all of those, championships can't run. They're vital jobs that need to be done to be able to get those drivers, male or female, out on track. So
and of
we're
course,
all
let's
as
not
important
forget
as each other.
Exactly, and let's not forget arguably the most important role, media as well, of course.
Yeah, I suppose we're better at that end.
No, of course, the least important, but yeah, fair enough. Kyla, let's talk about this season, shall we? 2021. We've got almost a full calendar this year, haven't we? Unfortunately, Silverstone had to go for the MG Metro Cup, but Brands Hatch is in just a couple of weeks, isn't it? 25th of April. Are you racing?
Yes, I am racing. We're racing on the Sunday. I think we're racing about qualifying about 10 o'clock. That's right.
Yeah, I was just going to try and find.
Because it's just come out.
Try and find it.
So we're going down early on Sunday morning, and it will be a day of racing. Busy day, that's for sure. But can't wait.
It's going to be an awful lot of fun, isn't it? So there's going to be 2 races, obviously qualifying as well, and we will be there as well, bringing behind the scenes action. Emma, let's just talk about your role then leading into Brands Hatch. Quite a lot to do, I suppose, in the run up. What is a general day in the let's say a Thursday before the event? What's on your agenda to do?
Normally I'm packing up the car ready to set off either Friday if it's a Saturday race or if it's a weekend race, making sure I've got spares of everything that they all need in terms of stickers. I normally send out a last minute email to make sure that everybody's okay if they need anything, and then once I get there, that's when the hard work really starts. I don't stop. I'm lucky if I stop to eat, which the one time I did, and you caught me at Snetterton coming out of the thing with food, but thanks for that. And then constantly going back and forth with race control, picking up, signing on, because I have to sign on myself as an official, as well as the drivers do. And then, it's just whatever they need. That's what I'm there for. So, that's a race weekend.
And you, Kyla, you're getting there Sunday morning. What happens when you arrive trackside? Do you park up, find your bay? What happens there? Do you have to register or? Yeah,
we have. Well, it's a lot different at the moment because of the whole COVID thing. It would normally be that we would arrive, unload, and then scrutineer. But now we're doing online scrutineering, if I'm right. Has it changed again? I'm not sure. I've read stuff, but it's there's a lot going on. So yeah, we scrutiny in normally, and then we normally, because it's all happening on one day, we try and fill the cars up with fuel and that, and make sure tyres are ready before we get there, so that we have one less job to do. And then qualify. Then if anything goes wrong with the car, make sure it's ready for race 1. And then finish the race, and then maybe sometimes we can have a presentation between race 1 and race 2, or we can just have them all at the end of the day. So if that happens, then we do that. But also in between those 2 races, we have to make sure that the cars are either repaired or made sure they're ready for the race afterwards. It's just constant, make sure the cars are ready.
And one thing I do know about the Metro Cup is that once the racing's all finished, it's time for a swift half. A nice time, and then relax, chill out, and breathe, go home, do it all again at the next meeting.
Yeah, exactly. It's got to be, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's the social element, isn't it? And that's another.
It is.
That's another point to it all, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to say, you know, from my point of view, going in technically as an outsider, because you know I'm not a racer myself. We're going in from the outside in, but everybody always treats us so good, and I have to say this in complete honesty, is there's never any like male chauvinism or anything like that in any of the series that I've worked with. Walking around the paddock, and you might just think, you know, our boys will be boys when they get together. It's not like that at all. Even when it is just boys together, there's none of that goes on. You know, there's passion there and there's desire, and people just want to have a good time and go racing. And so if you are a little bit unsure and thinking, oh, you know, are people going to take the mick? They certainly won't. You know, they'll have you back 100%. I know they really will.
And
they'd have us females to answer to. So I'm only joking.
You don't want that.
No, you don't.
And normally one race meet in a year, Emma along with Kim, they do like a barbecue for everyone in the championship.
Yeah, we've missed that.
I know.
Yeah.
But we all get to sit together and have a burger or a hot dog, and then have a chat and just chill out with everyone and have a laugh.
Yeah. Hopefully later in the year. But if you are watching this and you are thinking of getting involved in motorsport, do check out the Metro Cup, mgmetrocup.co.uk. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me this evening. I'm going to let you go and enjoy the rest of the evening. Of course, I will see you at Brands Hatch. And talking of Brands Hatch, we will be there live. You will get to see every single piece of action from the MG Metro Cup live in 2021. I've been Ian Waterhouse. That's Emma Cross and Kyla Birdseye have been absolute superstars this evening. And the Metro Cup in 2021 is going to look a little something like this. We'll see you soon.